everyone. Oh, I'm looking straight. Sorry. Hi, Zoomers. I'm so excited to be here today to talk about the war for kindness, building resilient teams. Now, for the people in Zoom, I'm going to sort of step off to get to the next slide. So that's why I'm in this. Oh, no, I'm not. My name is Francesca Donlin, and I am many things, but one thing that I did was I started a class at Florida Gulf Coast University with a book called The War for Kindness. This book was written by Jamil Zaki, who is a professor at Stanford. And he realized that students and the country was having an empathy deficit. So he created this book of War for Kindness, and he has done tremendous research around kindness and resilience. So I also wanted to point out something. This was the class at Florida Gulf Coast University. They'd never had a class about kindness. And I said, I really, really want to do it. I mean, they're doing it at Stanford, they're doing it at Harvard, they're doing it at Yale. So with Jamil Zaki, he helped me create a syllabus. We started this class, and I want to point out these two men in the front there. Those are both veterans. And what was special about them, besides them being just incredible men, I want to tell you a quick story about this gentleman right here. One of our kindness challenges, so we talk about science and the research around kindness and resilience and all of that. And I would give the class a kindness challenge. So one week, I gave this class a challenge to write a thank you note. And I'll explain why that will change your brain chemistry. But I said, everybody in the class write 3 thank you notes. And anyone, I don't care who it is, it could be the cashier at the grocery store, it could be your mother, it could be anyone. And he wrote a thank you note to his father, who had kicked him out of his house at 16 and who he hadn't spoken to in 20 plus years, because he realized that he wouldn't be the man he was today, the veteran, the married man that loved his children, if he hadn't been sort of ousted in that way, joined the military. So he wrote his father this thank you note, and his father responded. And as he's telling the class about it, he's crying because this wound has been closed with one thank you note. They're still in touch. They're now part of each other's lives. And there's a reason that I will explain why these simple things can change your life. Okay, I'm changing. So I'm bringing this picture up because I wanted to tell you something about my brother. This is my brother. His name is Dr. Preston Klein. He runs a company called Mission Critical. And what he does is he keeps people in high stress jobs like the Navy SEALs, CIA, FBI alive. He's done tremendous research about resilience, team building, the critical seconds in your life when you have to make a life or death decision. He has been studying that for years. And he boils it all down to 2 things. And that will surprise you. Kindness and gratitude. And it's so funny that we're both on the same path in very different ways. But I wanted to introduce you to my brother Preston, because he is literally in the trenches. He was with the firefighters after 9/11. He is with groups who have had tremendous loss, tremendous challenges, tremendous difficulties, and he boils it down to kindness and gratitude. And I'm going to explain why. Those words seem soft words. And he took him a while to get his head around it too. And he's like, you tried telling some Navy SEALs, like, let's get kind, you get pushback. But he has the research to back it up. Now, I'm bringing this to you this week because there is actually something called World Kindness Day, which was this week, but it leads into World Kindness Week. So I feel extra blessed to be here today because we are in World Kindness Week. And they even had at NASDAQ during the stocks, they had World Kindness Day. I mean, the world is, as we all know, collectively fractured, difficult, complex, but there is this stirring of kindness that is trying to bring us together in so many ways. So here's one of the myths about kindness. And this part of my presentation is sort of gearing you up to understand the building blocks of kindness. And then we'll get to the team part. But kindness, right? It's what you think. Being selfless, caring, compassionate, and unconditionally kind. Like love, it takes practice to understand and feel it. Kindness is like a practice. It's not something that you're necessarily, you can be born with it, but it's not a quality. It's not like she's kind, she's unkind. It's a practice. It's a practice different than being nice. Nice is, you look nice today. So easy to do it, right? Kind is, actually, you've got like some spinach in your teeth, but you look great. Kind is that extra step that's like, I'm going to help. I'm going to say something nice. Not like anybody can be nice. So the point about that is that I want you to understand it's a practice. It's not just something that happens like, voila, I'm kind. Everyone can do it. Everyone can practice it. First thing you have to do is realize that it exists. So I love this cartoon because everyone can relate to it, right? I tell you 100 things that you're doing great. 100. I tell you one thing I didn't really like. And this is where you get your little magnifier glass out and you're like, I'm just gonna like focus on the bad. But you're ignoring all the good. It says, brain, look. I mean, the other part of your brain says, not now, can't you see I'm busy? That is how you can also look at the world, right? There's tremendously bad things happening. There are beautiful things happening every day. There are beautiful things happening throughout your day. Someone opens the door for you. Someone gives you a coffee. I mean, they're tiny, but they all add up. And so the first thing is to just recognize that it exists. Notice it. Become aware of it. In my class, I had students doing exercises about just notice. And it changed them, notice. And they started to notice. So what does kindness mean to you? I just want to take a minute and think about it. What does kindness not only mean to you? When has someone done something kind for you that has changed you, little and big? There's so many examples. I'll just give you a few easy ones. There was a student at FGCU from another country. She didn't know the language very well. She was in our grocery store, which was Publix. And because of her Visa card or her debit card hadn't aligned, her food that she was getting, it didn't go through, it was denied. So this woman behind her just said, it's just a few things. She said, I got it. I got it for you. I got it. And that act of kindness changed her whole feeling about being in the United States. And in my class, she went back to that grocery store and she paid for someone who's behind her, just as a practice. So there are just things that you can do. I try to say, if you're thinking it, like, that feeling where you're like, you see someone come in and you go, gosh, looks so good. But you don't say it. Or like, wow, you good at that. But you don't say it. Just try to imagine saying the things that you're thinking. Because we need you to do, like, the world needs that. Everyone needs it. There was another student who had her headphones on and it was winter. She was traipsing through and there was another student and they walked by each other, but the one kept looking back and the other one in the headphones was like, maybe I know her, but I don't know. So they were like, and finally the one without, she took her headphones on. She's like, is everything okay? And she goes, yeah, I just wanted to tell you, you look fantastic. And this student who was having the worst day, when she came to class, she's like, you won't believe it. A complete stranger told me I look fantastic. And you get to see, like, that cost that person nothing to do that. So just think about what kindness means to you, how you give it, how you get it, and how it has changed your life as well. So when you think about kindness, if you can just think for now about something that someone did for you that was kind. Take a second and think about it. It actually produces chemicals in your brain. It's chemically brain altering. So for example, you give someone $5 and they're like, oh, thank you. You give them a compliment. It's the same brain chemicals as you giving them $5. It's the serotonin. It's all of those. It's called a helper's high, because you're giving, they get the high and you get the high. So it's a chemically altering brain explosion. And so, and I'm going to get back to this to teams, but you can imagine as you're building this practice of being kind, of kindness is contagious, spreading kindness, you're in a team situation. These chemicals, when you're kind, also create an enormous range of health benefits. Here's some of I wanted you to see this slide because it's called, I think they call it, I like to say, people in high stress positions, in very high stress decision-making, often are what they call swimming in cortisol. You're swimming in that fight or flight. You can't unplug it. You're there, your body is consumed with cortisol. The only way to get out of the swimming in cortisol is to start doing things that literally untether that part of you. And that is the other person, the parasympathetic nervous system. So, they have visualize, breathe, relax, meditate, be kind. You have to actively disconnect from that flood so that you can have some of these parasympathetic nervous system benefits. So you see, like, you're in a team, you're flooded, it's impacting your mental health, your physical health. You have to move into the parasympathetic. And kindness and gratitude are two ways to do that. So this is hard to see, but I'm just going to explain. Kindness, health benefits. What I was telling you about the brain, it does enormous things. It does so many things that I can't even list them all. So, but I'm going to give you some examples. All right. So about half of the participants reported they feel stronger, more energetic after helping others. Many also reported feeling calmer, less depressed. People live longer. It produces endorphins, the brain's natural painkiller. Here's the perpetually kind people have 23% less cortisol and age slower than the average population. I mean, it goes on and on. Blood pressure. Committing acts of kindness lowers blood pressure. Everything from life satisfaction, physical health is improved. Mortality is delayed. I mean, you're happier. You live longer. It's contagious. So then you're surrounded by it. So, right. So it has all these benefits. It's like the secret weapon. And this is one piece of it that I want to touch on is self-compassion. Self-compassion is also like the thing no one really talks about, but is so critical. So just quickly in my class, I did a survey for the students, and it was like, how kind are you to yourself? How kind are you to others? Everybody scored incredibly low in kindness to themselves, but very high in kindness to others. And then we had to, so I sort of scrapped my plan and I went right into self-compassion, because that's like your building block. For example, if you can't give yourself grace, if you can't give yourself kindness, right, then all sorts of things happen to you. Like, for example, you date someone, you live with someone who isn't very kind to you because you're not kind to you. As my students say, they're feeling kind of stupid a little bit. They date the guy or the woman who thinks they're a little bit stupid. It's like your level of self-compassion raises your kindness sort of gauge. And so that you're kind and you attract kindness it's like a building block. It's like you're grounded in self-compassion. Now, the reason that the self-compassion piece gets tricky is because people think it's selfish, right? They think, it's selfish for me to take a nap. It's selfish of me to say, you know what, I don't really want to go out Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. I'm going to stay home. It's selfish to say, I'm going to go to the movies and just check out, right? But if you can do that when you're in stress, you get more amazing health benefits. You're happier, you have better motivation, you have less anxiety. And then this was really interesting to me, and you can even look these studies up. If you're nicer to yourself, you have the resilience needed to cope with stressful events such as divorce, health crisis, academic failure, and to combat trauma. You basically have the resources to manage life, right? Like many of these things are going to happen in life. And so if you can just say, you know what, I'm going to give myself some grace. I'm going to give myself a minute. I'm going to check out for a second, do what makes me happy. And then you are generating all of that. Plus, you're fuller to give. When you're empty, you don't have that to give to your team, right? So the big question is, oh, one more. Okay, the gratitude piece. Okay, this is another one of these soft words like kindness, gratitude. The gratitude's huge, and my brother will tell you it's the easiest one, because when you're grateful, when you can wake up in the morning and say, start your day, I'm grateful for these three things. I'm grateful the sun's out. I'm grateful I'm alive. I'm grateful I can walk. Whatever. If you can just be aware, it also does amazing things. Improves physical health, improves sleep, improves, well, that's not spelled correctly, but psychological health, increases empathy, reduces aggression, more social connection, enhances self-esteem, improves mental strength. All it involves is you just stopping and being grateful. That's it. And it all relates to teams as well. So, kindness and gratitude and resilience in teams. What does that mean? Why isn't that? If this is the glue, if my brother at Wharton and Harvard says, yeah, it's kindness and gratitude, and he deals with all those teams, and I'm studying it, and I'm working with Jamil Zaki, who's actually researching it at Stanford, and we're saying kindness and gratitude, that's the glue, everybody, that's the glue. Why don't we do it? Why don't we do that? Oh wait, hold on, I'm gonna go back and tell you, hold on. Here we go. I'm gonna go back and do this. What are some of the hurdles? Okay, so when I ask my students, go out today, this week, you're gonna give 3 compliments. We're gonna do strangers this week, right? They're like, oh my God, I can't. What? Just say you look great. Just say love your shoes. Just say thank you for opening the door. You're whatever you want to say. Just say it. Oh my God, it's so uncomfortable. So we did it. They came back. My joke is that the bagger at our grocery store was flooded with compliments. Like they got nervous and they go, thank you for bagging. You're a good bagger. It's one bagger. Anyway, they did it and they were like, okay, that was good. That felt good. That felt good. Like the woman who, turned around with the headphones, you look great today. Changed, So they're excited. They're like, okay, what's the next one? Okay, the next one is go give 3 compliments to people you actually like. Okay. Oh my God. Right. Try your mom. And I'll start there. All the moms cried, by the way, because it was like, what's my kid doing? What? Why is my kid giving me compliments? All right. So they're doing it, and they're like, this feels real. This feels real. But in their life, especially for the guys, not to be a gender differentiator, but for the guys, when they were giving their guy friends compliments, the guys were like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's up? Why do you care if I look good today? The guys had a harder time with it. So finally the students would have to say, okay, it's for an assignment. Okay, I have to do it. So you're handsome and you're smart and you have nice shoes. Okay. But it speaks to the culture that we live in, right? Like someone gives you a compliment, you're like, what's going on? It's not natural. So that was interesting. And then of course, when they gave sincere compliments to people they love, it was a little teary and emotional. It's like, wow, I realized like I haven't really given my mother a compliment in 15 years, or because you take for granted people that love you and who you love. And so giving a thoughtful compliment, again, with those brain chemicals, like whoosh, and they get it. It's like $5, $10, $15. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. So compliments are easy and really life-changing. Really. So anyway, that's one. Embarrassment, right? I don't know. It's easier to be not complimentary. For example, there was some like football stars and basketball stars in this class. And when you're doing sports and your teammate makes a mistake and you go like, hey, it's all right, shake it off, shake it off, shake it off. You make a mistake, it's like, you are the worst player in history. It's like that. It's like, stop the just say, like, you say to yourself, shake it off, shake it off. Why does he get to shake it off? And you're like, I'm going to think about this until I pass out. You have to think about it. You have to just be like, man, I'm an athlete. I make mistakes. It's a game. Shake it off. Boom, let's go. And like that Ted Lasso line, was it, pretend you're a goldfish, or they forget in seconds. So just give yourself that kind of self-compassion. And also another technique for that is, if your friend was having a problem, let's pick a problem. There's so many. Let's pick a problem. Your friend was having problems at work, and they told you about it, and you would say, it's all right, you got this, do that, shake it off, you got it, go. Right? Use the same exact thing for yourself. Think about a problem you have, right? And say, okay, how would I answer that if I was my best friend? I would be way nicer to myself. And that helps fill you up instead of depleting you. Because when you say, I missed the basket and I'm up all night beating myself up about it, just try to be your own best friend. That will help tremendously. All right, fear of being judged. Okay, that's easy. You say to someone like, wow, that presentation was fantastic. You lit up the room. And then you're a little embarrassed because, like, do they think I like them, or do they? Just do it. If you think about getting a compliment, probably have never had one that you were like, wow, I wish I didn't notice that about me. No, it always works. Anger, you don't know, like, stranger, envy, tired and overwhelmed, depressed. Those are some hurdles. Like, you're just too tired. You don't care. You've given up. I'm too mad. Yeah, I don't want to give you somebody. Just think about those things. What are some of the hurdles when we talk about kindness and gratitude? These are them. So we have the glue. We say, this would be great for team building. This would be great for relationship building. It'd be great for self-confidence building. But people feel so shy about it because it's not part of our culture. And so part of the solution is creating a culture that supports it, that supports kindness. Yeah, I'm going to go back for a second. Okay. University of Washington. I'm trying to give you science so you don't just think, I'm trying to convince you that this is the glue. University of Washington developed a resilience lab. They studied it. They got everybody, fellows, everybody in there. And they said they've boiled it down again to resilience, the cornerstones of resilience: mindfulness, growth mindset, self-compassion, and gratitude. I mean, they took a collective higher educational learning lab and they boiled that down again too. And they added a few more things. Mindfulness is just the idea of being aware, being aware of your breath and just being present. Growth mindset, being willing to do it, being willing to, like, throw out a little kindness, do a little self-compassion, have some gratitude, like the willingness to see how that can change your life. And self-compassion and gratitude, and self-compassion is kindness. And then the other important part is that it's, like I say, it's a practice because it's a battery. You're a battery, right? You can get so depleted, so exhausted. juggling every ball in the air, right? It says it needs to be restored and recharged regularly. And those are your tools. But it's like, well, they're kind of flimsy, you know? Rather just maybe have a six-pack. I don't know, whatever coping tools seem more embedded in the culture. But if you could feel depleted and turn to kindness, turn to gratitude, turn to mindfulness and self-compassion and say, I'm really depleted, I'm exhausted, I'm going to the movies. And I'm not going to feel bad about it because when I come out of the movies, I'm going to feel great. All right. Again, resilient team research building blocks. And these all seem too easy and too good to be true. But they all boiled it down in different research modules. Positive thoughts, right? If you can change your mindset into a positive thought. So the way to do that is like, what are 3 good things, right? You're stressed, you have anxiety. My thing is when I'm stressed and I have anxiety, I just say, feet are on the ground, are my feet on the ground? What can I hear? Can I smell? Can I see? What are 3 good things? And you are moving your cortisol out of your body and into something more restorative. And then acts of kindness. Again, one of the best ways to boost happiness and resilience is to perform acts of kindness. And then let's talk about that for a minute, because I think it's a little flimsy. Like, what is that? What is that exactly? What kind of, like, do I have to go do a food, clothing drive? No, you don't. You literally have to open the door for someone. You literally have to say, good morning. You look great. Hello. Hi. You have to go through the cafeteria where you eat and say, best lunch ever. You have to see a custodian and say, like, you're killing it. Whoever you come across, gentle, easy. Hey, if you want to do a food drive, go for that too. I'm sure that's long-term sustaining. But the holidays are coming. Thanksgiving, this day when we're all supposed to be grateful. And I'm saying, should be Thanksgiving every day. Should be, you're grateful for Thanksgiving, but what are you grateful the next day? And the next day. It's so simple, and yet it seems like it's too easy to be true. And my brother, again, will tell you, that's it. Kindness, gratitude. You do that, restores you, restores your team. You're creating a culture that supports each other. So I want to talk to you about Dr. Laurie Santos. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she teaches, she doesn't teach it anymore, but she taught a happiness class at Yale. And the reason she did that is because she was a psychology professor for many years. And for some reason, they asked her to become the director of residential programming. So they put her, so she said, all right, for 1 year, I'm going to live in the residence hall with all these Yale students. After 1 year of living with these students, she realized they were so profoundly stressed, had so much anxiety, had so much depression, that they weren't really learning. They weren't learning what Yale had to offer them. Imagine, it's a pretty good school. You would have a lot of exposure to some pretty high learning, but she was seeing that they weren't learning. They were like crippled with anxiety, depressed. So she said, that's it. I'm going to teach a happiness course, and we're going to learn kindness, gratitude, self-compassion. That course was the most popular course in 320-year history of Yale. During COVID, she actually put that course online for free, and millions of people took that course. And she's saying, if you can just do these practices, these simple practices, and her students did them, and people all around the world did them during COVID, and it changed their brain chemistry and their lives. Just these simple habits. But she felt like there was a crisis at Yale, which, imagine is a crisis at all the higher learning institutions. And so now they're at Yale's, Harvard, Stanford, all of these schools, the Resilience Lab at University of Washington, are realizing that these quiet, softer skills are the glue to not just our own happiness, but our community, our teams, our sanity, And so she has a kindness podcast. So if you look that up, it's called the Happiness Podcast. If you want to, and she brings in researchers and to help you realize this isn't just, your sister saying, can you be a little kinder? This is like research from the top researchers in the country are valuing these skills. Okay, I thought this was appropriate for this particular community. And I love this quote. Never make the mistake of assuming the person of peace is unskilled at war. Right? Like, I have to tell you, I have taught kindness. I appreciate it. I love it. But if you mess with me, I'm not, I'm not going to tolerate it. Like, kindness does not mean pushover. It does not mean weak. It does not mean all of the things. It actually gives you a pretty solid core of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable in your life. And you have a very easy way to solve a boundary. So I just want you to think about that. Never make the mistake of assuming the person of peace is unskilled at war. You can do both. You can be swimming in cortisol and you can be perfectly relaxed. And to do both is where you're going to have that mental health, physical health, all of those balances. Okay, so kindness is strength. These are your actions. So I want you to remember that. Kindness is strength. And that's the hardest part because it is so confused with a softer stance. Okay. So this class has gone faster, but it's okay. This is it. This is what I'm leaving you with. Acts of kindness. Acts of kindness, right? All the things, think about who's been kind to you. What did they do to you? What did they do for you? Do that. So many things. You love animals, do something. There's a million ways to be kind in this world. I mean, I had students just standing on the corner handing out flowers one day. No reason, just, you can do anything. Be nice to your spouse. Be good to your kids. Like, when you're grumpy, just gratitude journal. So easy. Wake up in the morning. I'm grateful. 3 things. Forgot about it at night. 3 things. It will change your brain chemistry because you're suddenly focusing on the good. What am I grateful for? The little things. Keep going. You run out of things, repeat it. Practice self-compassion. The next time you have a problem and you're being very mean to yourself, because we talk to ourselves more than we talk to anyone, and you find yourself saying that you're a loser or you're an idiot, whatever words you use, whatever beautiful words you use to describe yourself, because everyone does it, say, would I call my best friend a loser in this situation? You would not. So think about that. The next time those voices, I call them like Harry Potter, the Dementors. When the Dementors come flying in, would you speak to yourself? Would you ever in a million years speak to your child that way? Your spouse that way? Maybe. Okay, your best friend that way? Think about it. And in school, we have really good examples. The kids will actually come up and be like, okay, I got really drunk Friday night and I missed my exam. And then they will share like all the terrible things they said to themselves. And then a student will come up and then I'll say, okay, say this student just said what you did. What are you going to say? You're going to say it because I'm going to say, college is about learning and making mistakes and getting back up. And I'm like, exactly. Try saying that to yourself. So that's just a great exercise if you can remember those really negative things. Practice self-compassion. Reflect on 3 good things, right? So if you forget, I'm grateful for 3 things, reflect on 3 good things. So just take a minute, just for now, just for a minute, and think of 3 good things in your life. You're there. Here we are. Now let's try to think about 3 things you're grateful for. So many. Actively think about what you're grateful for. We know what's happening in this world. We are in an incredibly privileged position, no matter where we are. We have a lot to be grateful for. And it's a good reminder every day. Okay, I don't think this video is gonna work, but I'm gonna make it work. Okay, stay with me. This, and I'm gonna make this video work in 1 second. This is my favorite video. I don't know if you've seen the show, The Greatest Showman, with Hugh Jackman in it. It's not the show so much as this video. So let me set it up. There's a woman who's in the picture, and she has been brought into New York City to do with all the fancy producers, and they're thinking about greenlighting this Greatest Showman. They're like, well, let's hear the music. Let's hear the show. You know, it's like they're in a room like this. And that woman, who's Keala, she's not there to be an actress or anything. She's got this beautiful voice, and they want her to sing a song. It's a lot of pressure. She doesn't have much confidence, even though she's scared to death. So he says to her, you got to step in the center. She doesn't want to. And I want you to see what happens. I get this up. I want you to see what happens when she starts to believe in herself. And then the people around her believe in her too. And like what amazing, amazing miracle happens. So try to figure out how to do it. Okay.
Benj and Justin had just written this new song called This Is Me. And we knew that it was going to be the anthem of the film, but no one had heard it before. And no one had heard Keala sing it live. Keala, who I didn't even want to come out from behind the music stand.
I didn't.
I kept saying to her, just step out, because this is your moment and you have to step out into the ring, metaphorically, because that's what you're doing, and you got to stand right there in front of everyone and just belt this out.
And I didn't want to. In fact, I stood behind that music stand until the day of that presentation. There was a moment in the song that I actually was so scared that I had to actually grab Hugh's hand so that I had somebody to hold on to. And then we got to the end of the number, and all I remember is just deafening applause. It was a sort of otherworldly experience.
It was one of those moments that will stay with me the rest of my life. Unfortunately, we filmed it.
I'm not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, no one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down, 'cause I know that there's a place for us.
So what I love about that video so much, besides I just love the tune, a lot of marching, and is that she didn't have the confidence in the beginning. Sorry, it's another song.
I know you want me.
It's the other song in the movie.
So do
There we go. That's okay. Let's just go to I'm almost like the last. Anyway, what I love about that movie, about that clip, is Keala didn't have the confidence, right? You saw that. Then she stepped into the center, and then the people around her making eye contact, her team, right? Making eye contact. And then she had this moment where she was like, started to shake. And then she reaches out, and Hugh Jackman just has to hold her hand for a second. She's back out there. It's all the things. It's believing in herself. It's her community. It's her support. And then what I love about the end of that story is that the producers gave her a standing ovation and said, can you play the part in the movie? So she is in the movie. She is this woman right here. And so it's about your gifts and standing in the center and being brave enough to be kind and self-compassion and grateful. And then I think we're almost, yeah, this is it. The thing about kindness is that it is contagious. It is literally a miracle movement because you do it and then you've activated your chemicals and their brain chemicals and they do it and they do it and they do it. And when we come back to teams, right, you're in some very difficult situations. You've got to light your candle so that you can continue to light the candle of the people around you, because that's how you are lifted up. Kindness, gratitude, self-compassion, that is resilience. Because the stronger you are, the stronger is your team. So I want to thank you for spending your afternoon lunch with me and being here in person, being here on Zoom. I love it. If you ever want to reach out to me, you can. I'll send out my email, or I should just say it. Francesca Donlan, FrancescaDonlan 4@gmail.com. I would love to talk to you about kindness, further this conversation. It's a passion of mine. I don't know if you can tell. And I wish you a beautiful, beautiful